Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 1 Samuel, the 3rd chapter, the prophetic call to Samuel. And here we start to see the Lord dealing with Samuel, more and more, making himself known now unto Samuel as he would be established in the Lord, right, to basically be a judge, one of the final judges, ending the period of judges and introducing that of kings of Israel. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord Yahweh before Eli. And ministered here meaning to serve. So whatever it is that was required of the Lord, the duties of a priest, whether it's like cleaning up or getting materials or utensils or whatever it is there, Samuel did. As it says before Eli, and the word of the Lord Yahweh was precious in those days, right? And it was so because it was rare, right? The Lord didn't ask frequently, give his word around that time. So it made it more precious whenever the word of the Lord came, or whenever there was a prophet or a seer that was raised up. There was no open vision. Right now, reading this in the NLT, as it says here, meanwhile, the boy Samuel served the Lord Yahweh by assisting Eli. Now, in those days, messages from the Lord were very rare, and visions were quite uncommon. So that's what it means by open vision. And it came to pass at that time, when Eli was laid down in his place, so, when Eli was basically going to sleep, and his eyes began to wax dim, right? So he was getting older, and, eventually, he started to lose his sight, that he could not see. So, in other words, one night, as Eli was getting ready to go to bed, and ere the lamp of God went out in the temple of the Lord, right? So before because in the nighttime they put the lights out, but before, it's like it when it says ear, it means like before the lights were put out, where the ark of God was, and Samuel was laid down to sleep. So this is setting the scene, right? Eli is getting ready to go to bed. Samuel had laid down. He's about to go to sleep near where the ark was. That the Lord Yahweh called Samuel. And he answered, Here am I. And he ran unto Eli and said, Here am I, for thou callest me. And he said, I called not. Lie down again. So Samuel heard the Lord, but he didn't know the Lord, right? He wasn't familiar with this. So he thought the voice he heard was Eli calling him. Maybe he needed something. So he runs to Eli, yo, you called me. What's going on? And Eli tells him, no, go back to sleep. And he went and lay down. And the Lord Yahweh called yet again, Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And he answered, I called not, my son. Lay down again. So go back to sleep. No, I didn't call you. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord Yahweh, neither was the word of the Lord Yahweh yet revealed unto him. So he was new in this thing, so to speak. And the Lord Yahweh called Samuel again the third time. And he arose and went to Eli and said, Here am I, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord Yahweh had called the child. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go, lie down. And it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Yahweh, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. Because Eli having realized, oh, this must be the Lord calling Samuel. But obviously Samuel, not knowing how to deal in this matter, he heard the voice, but he thought Eli was calling him. So Eli tells him, okay, when you hear it again, this is how you respond. But for now, just go lay back down. And the Lord came and stood and called, as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth. And the Lord Yahweh said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle. And what that's another way of saying, I'm about to do something, crazy, right? Something so wondrous, and using the word wonder, not in the sense of, because now when you hear wonder, you think of a wondrous, like a beautiful thing, right? A marvelous thing. But the term marvelous, or like something you marvel at, is not always good. It's just great in magnitude. And that's what the Lord is saying here, that he's going to do, to where anybody who hears news about this thing, their ears are going to tingle, which is, is to represent, they're going to be shocked. Like, wow, whoa. In that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. And today, a modern day example, or a modern day saying for that, about the tingling of the ears, is like when somebody says, it'll send chills down your spine, right? You don't actually have, like, your spine doesn't freeze per se, but sometimes you hear something and you just get the chills, right? The little shake, like, oh man, that kind of thing. Like, I'm glad that's not me. In that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. So from beginning to end, everything that I spoke, when you go back to the second chapter, the Lord sent a man of God to come over there and to tell Eli, or pronounce the judgment that the Lord would send against him. And so the Lord is saying here, confirming it to Samuel, that he's going to do that. Everything that he said he was going to do. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. Right? So as we went through in the previous chapter, the Lord was upset with Eli because having, being privy to the things that his son was doing that caused Israel to abhor the sacrifices of the Lord, right? Their sin was great. They greatly displeased the Lord. And yet Eli, as it says, he didn't restrain them, right? He spoke to them, but he didn't take the necessary steps to, for them to cease that behavior, to discipline them. Verse 14, and therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. So this isn't something that I'm going to forgive or pardon by way of a sin offering or a sacrifice. No, I've made up my mind concerning this. And Samuel lay until the morning and opened the doors of the house of the Lord Yahweh. And Samuel feared to shew Eli the vision. So in the morning he woke up and did his regular duties, right? He opened the temple up. Because keep in mind that the temple was also a building, right, at the end of the day. And it's, like today, this is just a very remote example, but today you have like municipal buildings, or, any building you go to, if it's a store or whatever, they close at some point and they open up again, right? And when they open up, you need the openers, right? The person there to make sure everything is good within the building first and running and everything is good before the doors are open for people to come in and utilize the services. So, when they opened the doors of the house of the Lord for worship, they had to make sure everything was set and properly in order. These are part of the things that Samuel did in ministering unto the Lord. But as it says here, he was afraid to tell Eli the vision that the Lord showed him, because it was evil concerning him. Then Eli called Samuel and said, Samuel, my son. And he answered, Here am I. And he said, What is the thing that the Lord Yahweh hath said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. God do so to thee, and more also, if thou hide anything from me. of all the things that he said unto thee. And that saying, God do so and more also, is like a curse, like the Lord, do evil, bring evil upon you, and even and more so, right, if you don't do this thing or X, Y, and Z. So Eli inquired what for Samuel to tell him. And Samuel told him every whit, and hid nothing from him. And he said, It is the Lord Yahweh. Let him do what seemeth him good. So after Samuel told him, Eli, he acknowledged it. Not that he had an option, but he said, hey, it's the Most High, right? It's his will. So whatever he sees fit, he'll do. And Samuel grew, and the Lord Yahweh was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground. And what it means by fall to the ground, meaning the Lord confirmed Samuel's words to where whatever he said, it went that way, to where his words held or carried weight, and he was respected. And all Israel from Dan even to Beersheba knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord Yahweh. And the Lord Yahweh appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. And that's the end of 1 Samuel, the 3rd chapter. So here we start to see, the Lord drawing nigh unto Samuel, dealing with him, sort of acquainting himself with him, and establishing him to be his messenger, in in playing a role in the events that would transpire next. And so with that, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kudash. And until next time, Shalom.